Yeah, hello everyone. Is my voice audible, guys? Let me know on the chat. Is my voice audible? Okay. So, guys, today will be the last demo sessions. In case if you want to proceed with the course, then you guys have to finish your payment process by today evening. Okay. So, maximum like by tomorrow, link might change. So, in case if you want to proceed with the course, you guys can just finish your payment. And the people who are from the full stack, so they need not to pay any kind of fee. Anyways, this course is included in your package itself. Okay. So in last session, what are the topics we have discussed? So we have seen how to create UI using JSX, right? We have seen integration of Babel with HTML document. And we have seen configuration part. Okay, so very simple configuration part. Just we have to add one script tag, and we have to add one attribute to use the JSX inside our HTML document. And if you remember, we have created one simple template based on our all the examples. And in this template, already we have integrated React, integrated React DOM, integrated Babel. We have added one script tag. In that script tag, we have added attribute that is type equals to text/Babel. Text/Babel. Okay. Yeah. Now, in today's session, let's do one thing. Let's try to create one simple card. Like this card I want to create. Using whatever concepts you know right now, using those concepts, we want to create one card like this. And in this card, we want to add some user image, some random user image we want to add. So here we want to add some random user image. Then we wanted to show some user name here. So by using any heading element, we will show user name here. Then I just wanted to add some 2 lines of some content, some random content in the paragraph format. And finally, I want to create one simple button. Inside this, I want to add one simple button. So this is how I want to create one simple card using my React. So to create this card, what I will do, I will take a div element. So I will consider this card for creating like this card. I will take a div element. Now, can you guys tell me by default, what is the width div in your HTML? By default, what will be the width and height of your div element? What is default width and height of your div element? Anybody knows?
Width is 150.
Width is
150 pixel.
What is that? 150 pixel. What is the
Yeah.
default width? I'm asking default values of width and height.
Okay.
Anybody else, guys? Any other answer? What is the default width and height of your div element?
800 into 1200.
No. Guys, div. It's a basic, right? In
Sir, its
HTML.
width is 100% by default. It will cover the
Nice.
whole width.
So by default, width will be 100%. So whatever your screen size you have, it will occupy that entire screen size. And what about height?
Height is set to auto according to the width.
Height depends upon the content or
Yeah, means
children's we
content.
have inside that div. So height depends upon the children's. Depends on children. Children means something which is in between opening tag and closing tag. That we consider as a children. Now children can be some other elements. Children can be content. Okay. So height depends on the children and width will be 100%. By default, this is how your browser is going to assign width and height for your div element. HTML document here. Inside this script tag, I want to take one div element. Now, if I am using a div element inside the script tag, then that div element is not considered as a HTML element. It is considered as a JSX element. So in JSX also, if you want to create a div, so basically we use like this div syntax only, opening tag and closing tag. Now this is called JSX div element. It is a JSX div element. Now this JSX div element, we will assign to one variable. We will assign to one variable. So I will just say here card. That's it. Now this div, I want to create in this card shape. So right now we know that by default div width will be 100%. And height depends upon how much content you have in that div. Now this div, I want to convert like a card. So how can we convert this div like a card? Just by reducing the width of this div to some value and increasing the height of the div to some value. So if you decrease the width of the div and if you increase the height of the div and if you assign border property, then your div looks like a card. Your div will look like a card. So how to show div element like a card means just you have to decrease your width to some value and you have to increase your height of the div to some value and you have to assign border property. It means we have to add CSS now. Add CSS. Now we can add CSS in three ways. We can go with inline CSS, internal CSS. We can go with... So in last few sessions, we have seen inline CSS. In this session, let's try to see internal CSS. Now, internal CSS is very similar the way we use in our normal HTML. So what we can do to this div JSX element, we can assign some ID or class. Let's suppose I am assigning a class equals to, I'm just giving here a value like a card. Now, inline CSS means, internal CSS means inside your head section, you have to take a style tag. Now, inside this style tag, we have to select this JSX div element. How? Using its class name. So that is .card. Now, to this JSX element, we want to add a border property. Something like I will add 4 pixels solid. I will say here green. I will add some padding like 10 pixel. And let me add width something like around 270 pixel and height around 400 pixel. So I have decreased the width of my div. I have increased height of my div. Apart from that, I have just added padding and I have added border property to my div element. Now this div element we wanted to show on this screen. So for that, we have to take the help of React DOM. So React DOM dot render. So React DOM is a library which will help us to add elements inside our DOM. I will pass this card because card contains your JSX element, comma. Now where you want to add this card, I want to add inside this div. Inside this div, I want to add that card. Here I want to add. So for that, you have to give the DOM element of this particular HTML element. Nothing but you have to get the reference of this particular element. How to get the reference of this particular element? For that, you can use your normal JavaScript knowledge. That is document.getElement by ID of root. So basically, we are telling to the React DOM, take this React element and add inside this DOM. But right now, inside our card, we don't have React element. We have a JSX element. The moment React DOM encounters that JSX element, it will ask Babel. It will ask this Babel to convert that JSX element into React element. So Babel will convert this JSX element into React element. Then that React element will be added in the DOM. Now, the moment I load this document in my browser, now see, we got here card kind of structure. We got card kind of structure. Now, in this card, what we want to show? We want to show an image. Now, in your normal HTML, if you want to show image, then which tag or element you will use? If you want to show image,
IMG.
Image tag.
Basically we use IMG tag.
Source.
And IMG tags takes how many attributes? It takes some
Source attributes.
number of attributes. Source.
Alternate.
Can add alt, width, and height. So this is what knowledge we have in HTML. Same knowledge you can use for your JSX element also. Now we have to create image JSX element. How to create image JSX element? It's very similar to your HTML. So inside this div, directly you can use your HTML knowledge. That is, you can take your image tag. Now you can assign some width. So the width of the image, I will say 100%. And height of the image, I will give around 250 pixels. Now here I just need to add some image URL. So right now I don't have any image in my local system. So I will try to take image from the internet. In future, I will show you how to use the images which are present in your local system. So right now here I can search for male professional images. I will get here a lot of images on the internet. So I can select any one image. Just right click on this image. You will get the option copy image link. If you are trying to search images in your Edge browser, and whenever you right click on this image, you will get the option copy image link. If you are trying to search the images in Chrome browser, and there if you right click on any image, then you will get the option copy image address. Okay, so this name will change from browser to browser. So right now I am in the Edge browser, so I am getting here copy image link option. So I will just click on that. So the address of this image got copied. Now I can inside my SRC. Now if I save it and if I go back to my browser, now here if I refresh, now see image is displayed. And in between this border and this image, you have some space, right? That is because of padding property. That is because of padding property. Here we displayed an image. Now, after the image, I want to display username. So to display that username, I will take the help of any heading element. So in HTML, we have 6 heading elements, right? H1 to H6. So here I will try to take H3. And I will just add some name here, some random name. We got H. After that, I just want to define some content in paragraph format. So I will take paragraph, tag here, and just generate some random content here. I got some random content. After that paragraph, I wanted to show one button. So I will use button here. See, we are just using our HTML knowledge. So 95% your JSX is similar to your HTML. 95% your JSX is similar to your HTML. So whatever HTML knowledge you have, everything will come into picture now in React. This is the reason I told before you learn React, you should have knowledge on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now see, to style our JSX elements, we are using normal CSS concepts. And to write our JSX code, we are using our HTML knowledge. Now, the moment you save it, and if you go back here and refresh, now see, you should be able to see all this. Now you have created one simple card in your React. This is not created in HTML, it is created in React.js. So here we have written this entire code is React code.
Sir, but we saved as a .html, right?
Yes, because HTML page will we have to load, right? So React is just a library where we can create the user interface.
Okay.
Here we are creating the user interface, but the moment you want to show that user interface in the browser, you have to add your React code in HTML file. Okay.
Okay.
Now if you go back here, now see here we got. Now here I have added border property. That's why we are getting this card in this way. Instead of border property, we can use one more property in CSS, that is box shadow. So that gives much more better UI for us. Right now, border is giving this kind of effect to us. The moment I remove that border property and if I add box shadow property, now just see the UI, how it looks. Right now, this is how it looks. The moment I refresh it, now see, this is how my card looks. So this UI looks much more better than your previous UI. So like this, if you know the CSS, then you can utilize a proper CSS properties and you can create much more better UI. You can design UI in much more better way. Now see, just by changing a simple property, border to box shadow, how our UI became. So that's why CSS very important. The moment you know very CSS and very well HTML, you can do wonders. Now see, we have simply created one simple card. Now here we have used internal CSS. If you want, you can use external CSS also. External CSS means you can create a separate file here. You can create one separate file. Separate CSS file. You can write all your CSS code in that CSS file, and that CSS file you can link with your HTML document. Now here we got this card. Now I want same card multiple times. I want one more card similar to this one. So how to create same card one more time? Let's suppose I want one more card here. Exactly like this, I want one more card. So for that, what I need to do? So basically in your normal HTML, what we will do? We will just repeat this code. We will rewrite same code one more time in your HTML. But in React, no need to do like that. No need to do like that. Okay. So how to reuse your code? That is what we have to know. So to reuse our code, what we can do? we can create here one more variable like let container, and to this variable we can assign one div element. And inside this div element, we can add this card variable multiple times. How to add that card variable right now? This entire code you have assigned to a card variable. So what we can do is, inside this div, I want to add a card variable. I want to use a card variable. Now, what is this card? It is a JavaScript variable. And this is your JSX element. Inside your JSX element, if you want to use your JavaScript code, then we have to follow certain rule. What is that rule? The rule is you have to add curly braces. In that curly braces, you can use your JavaScript, or you can add your JavaScript code. So inside your JSX, if you want to add your JavaScript code, then we have to add curly braces, and inside that curly braces only we can write our JavaScript code. So right now this is your variable. Now this variable I want to use inside a JSX element. So for that we have to add first a curly brace. Inside that curly brace we can add our JavaScript code. In the same way, if you want to use this variable one more time, then again you can add one more curly brace. Again you can add your card. You can add one more curly brace, and again you can add that variable. Now inside your JSX element, we have added two JavaScript variable, and those variable again contains internally your JSX elements only. So this variable contains internally your JSX elements. So now, instead of passing here card, we can simply pass our container. Now if I save it, and if I go back here, and if I refresh, I got here two cards. This is your reusability. Here we are not writing same code multiple times. We are reusing the code now. I want two more times. I will just copy and paste here. Now if I go back here, now if you come back, you got four cards. So the rule what you have to remember here is how to add JavaScript code inside the JSX element. How to add JavaScript code inside the JSX element. For this, we have to follow the syntax. What is that syntax? Whatever JSX element you have, whatever JSX element you have, in that JSX element, if you want to write your JavaScript code, simply you have to add the curly braces here. And inside that curly brace only, you can write your JavaScript code. You can write your JavaScript code. Here I will say JSX element. Any JSX element. If you want, you can assign your JavaScript code to the JSX element attributes also. Suppose if you have a JSX element, okay, let's suppose you displayed some content here. This is the JSX element. Now let's assume that this JSX element has some attribute, like attribute 1. Now to this attribute, if you want to assign any JavaScript code, then you have to add here curly brace like this. And then you can assign your JavaScript code here. JavaScript code here. So we can add our JavaScript code in between this opening tag and closing tag. Plus we can add our JavaScript code. We can add our JavaScript code into the attributes as well. We can assign JavaScript code to the attributes as well. Example is your image tag. Example is your image tag. For example, this is your JSX element and it has some attributes. Let's assume that I don't want to hard code this URL here. So if I remove this URL from here, you won't see any image now. So if I go back here, if I refresh, you won't see any image now. So here image element is creating one container like this. Now inside this container, if you want to show any image, then basically we add the image address to this SRC. So what I can do, here inside my script tag, I can create one variable that is var image URL. And to this variable, I can assign that image address. Now this is your normal JavaScript variable to which you have assigned some address, some image address here. Now this URL, nothing but this variable, we can assign to our JSX element attribute. So how to assign this variable? How to assign this variable to your SRC attribute means here instead of using double quotes, now you have to use curly brace. And inside this curly brace, directly you can pass that variable, image URL. The moment you save it, and if you refresh, you will be able to see that it. So this kind of power we don't have in HTML. This kind of features we don't have in HTML. Inside your HTML elements, you cannot write JavaScript code. Inside your HTML elements, we cannot write JavaScript code. But inside our JSX elements, we can write our JavaScript. Now this is your JSX element. Inside that, we are adding our JavaScript. To your HTML element attribute, we cannot assign any JavaScript variables or functions. But to JSX element attribute, we can assign JavaScript variables or functions. Here I am able to assign JavaScript variable. So in short, you can say that to your JSX element attribute, we can assign JavaScript code. Inside your JSX elements, we can add JavaScript code. But to add those JavaScript code, we have to follow certain syntax. What is that syntax? We have to add this curly braces. Inside that curly braces only, you can add your JavaScript code now. So like this, you have to follow few rules when you are working with JSX. So that's why I said 95% JSX are similar to HTML, but there are 5% which is little bit different from your HTML. Now you cannot do like this in your HTML elements, but you can do with your JSX elements. Now see, here I am able to display all the cards. Now all these cards are displaying one after another. I want all these cards in the same row. So can you tell me how can I display all these cards in the same row? How to display all these cards in the same row? Right now, all these cards are displaying one after another. I want they should display in the same row, one beside another. So this is where, yeah, tell me.
In CSS, we have to add, right?
Yes, we have to use CSS. And in that, which concept we can use? There are multiple ways to do.
I think flex inline or something.
You can use flex, you can use grid, you can use positions concept. Okay, there are so many ways to do that. So let's go with the flex part. So what we can do, to this div, I can assign a ID like card container. Now I can select this div in my CSS using that ID selector, card container. I can make this div as a flex container. How to make this div as a flex container? For that, simply we have to use a property called display, whose value should be flex. The moment you add this property to your any element, that element will be considered as a flex container. And by default, in your flex container, all these flex items. Now, direct child of a flex containers are called flex items. Direct child of flex containers are called flex items. Now, if you are making this div as a flex container, then this direct childrens are called flex items. And by default, flex items will display in the row direction. Row direction means they will display in the horizontal direction. The moment I save it, if I go back here, if I refresh, all the cards will display in the horizontal direction. So this is your row direction. We call this as a row direction in Flex. Now I want to generate equal space between all these cards. Nothing but I want to generate equal space between all the Flex items. For that, we can use a property called justify content, and whose value can be space evenly. So the moment you assign this value to justify content property, it will generate equal space in between your flex items. So if I just go back here and if I refresh, now equal space will be generated between your flex items. Okay, so this is the concept of your CSS. So right now, if you don't know what is flex, so what you should do, once we're done with our session, you have to spend nearly 2 hours on flex concept in CSS. So what you have to do, once we have done with our session, you have to go back and you have to sit and you have to spend nearly 2 hours on the flex concept. So you have to master flex concept today itself. No need to focus on any other topic. You have to focus on flex concept. Now, this is how parallelly you have to learn the things. Suppose if I am using some concept of JavaScript, concept some X. Now, you don't know about that concept. On very high level, I will explain that concept. But what you have to do after this session, you have to go and spend the time on that concept X. If required, you can rewatch our recording so that you will be very clear with the concept that is covered in this session. So this is how we have to do. In case if you don't know certain concept of HTML, CSS or JavaScript. So here I will teach all the concepts of React. But suddenly if some concept comes into picture of JavaScript, if I am directly using it by pre-assuming that you know everything, but still if you don't know that concept or you might be little bit confused in that concept, then after this session, you have to go back and you have to sit and you have to make yourself perfect on the same day on that concept. So if you do like this, then only it will be benefit for you guys. Okay, because right now I am using Flex. Maybe in future, after 3-4 sessions, again I might use Flex. So at least at that time, you will be clear with the concept. Okay. So this is how parallelly you can revise the concepts of your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript with React. Now here we are able to reuse our code. This is called reusability. See, here we are reusing our code. Same thing if you want to do in HTML, then what you have to do? This code you have to rewrite. You have to copy paste. You have to copy paste nearly 4 times. Now, same thing if you want to create in JavaScript, then you can understand how difficult it will be for us to create like this card in JavaScript. If you want, you can give a try. So you can give a try to create a card in pure JavaScript. Create a card in pure JavaScript code. You just give a try for practice purpose. Then you will understand how complicated you will find to create like this card in plain JavaScript. And if you try, then only you will get the experience. And if someone asks you, can you explain me the difference between, can you explain me the difference between creating UI in React and JavaScript? If someone asks you, can you explain me the difference between creating the UI in React and JavaScript? Then you will be able to explain very confidently. Why? Because you created like this UI in React, plus you have created the UI in JavaScript. And you know what are the difficulties you have faced while creating the UI in the JavaScript. You will be able to explain those differences in much more better way. So this is what we say that practical knowledge. This is what we call as a practical knowledge. If you don't try, if you just remember my words, then that is like a theoretical knowledge. You did not try, but someone said you remembered that points and you are explaining to some other. But if you try practically and if you answer, that proves that you have done practically and you have that practical knowledge. Okay. Now we are able to create a card. We are able to reuse the card. Now, third step is I want to show different data in each card. Right now, we are showing same images in all the cards. We are showing same name in all the cards. Now, my requirement is I want to show different user images on my each and every card. I want to show different names of my users. So somehow little bit dynamic, I want to make this card. So anybody knows how can I make it dynamic by seeing this code? Is there any way to pass input to this line?
Using props,
What is
that like
props?
props. We
What
can
is
pass the data as container you have created that you are that as an argument we can pass that and hold up that side of that argument.
how you can pass here?
Uh,
You know React, don't use those terms. If you already know React a little bit.
yes.
But still you're wrong. You cannot use props here.
Basically, you write the start as a variable.
Just by by analyzing your HTML and JavaScript knowledge, can you tell me how can I pass different data in each and every card?
Definitely
By
we have
using
to take
arguments.
4 different images, sir. So for that we need 4 different URLs.
But how you
And
will
using
assign?
for loop, some loops we have to
Here we have
Like,
to use loop,
yeah,
but still how you will pass a dynamic data.
We can make
You
that
can
as a function
use
and
loops,
pass
but
some arguments.
So one of the easiest ways we can use functions.
okay.
Okay, so let me show what we can do. Okay, anyways, the people who are new, so they might not get that idea, but yes. So now what we can do is, whatever user interface we have created using JSX, this card we have created using this JSX, right? Now, same user interface we will try to create in one JavaScript function. So let's try to understand how to create user interface inside a JavaScript function. How to create UI inside the JavaScript function. Inside the JavaScript function. It's very, very simple. So for this, what we can do, I will just create one separate file, card fn.html. I will copy my template. I will paste here. Okay. So let it be here style as it is. You have script tags. You have your div and you have a script without any code here. Now inside this script tag, we will create one simple JavaScript function. How to create a simple JavaScript function? Function create card. Just give some name to your function. Open curly brace, close curly brace. What I did, I just created one simple JavaScript function. Now inside this JavaScript function, I will write my JSX code to create a card. Inside this JavaScript function, I will write JSX code to create a card. Now, once I have created it, then what we will do, we will use our React DOM dot render. Till now, here we used to pass a variable name. Now, instead of passing a variable name, here I will pass my function call, that is create card. So my requirement is whenever I call this function, this function should return all my JSX element. This function should return all my JSX element. So here I will add that div. So whenever you call this function is going to return all the JSX element that you will add inside this div. So here, if you call this function, it means you are getting JSX elements only. Then all those JSX element will be converted into React element by Babel, and those will be added inside your root div. Now what I need to do, simply here I need to add the code of my card. So I will just copy that code from my previous file. I will copy this code and I will paste here. So basically what we are doing, we have created one JavaScript function. Inside that function, we wrote a JSX code, and that code we are returning. It means whenever this function is called, this entire JSX code will be written. So anyways, this entire JSX code we have to give to the React DOM. So how can we give to the React DOM? Just by calling that function. If you call that function, this function will return this entire JSX code. That entire JSX code will come and sit. And those JSX code will be converted into React elements using Babel. And once those are converted into React elements, those React element will be added inside this div. Which div? Inside this div. And that part will be visible. On your screen. Now let me just save this part. And if I load this, see, I will be able to see a card. So now here we are not able to see. Let me just check if we are doing anything mistake here. Create card. Yeah, here this image URL is not there, right? So what I will do, I will just copy that URL here, this part, and I will add here inside my function. If I just go back here and refresh, now see we got that. We got a card. Now how many times we got a card? Right now, only one time. Same card I want to show multiple times. So what we can do for this? We can create one more function here. Function, I will say multiple card. In this function also, I will add JSX element, that is div. And this div I will return from here. Now inside this JSX element, I will call this function, create card function, multiple times. How to call? Now this is your normal JSX. Inside this, if you want to add your JavaScript code, add curly brace and you
Curly
call
brace.
that function. That's it, create card. How many times I want? 2, 3, 4. What we did, we just created two functions now. Inside those functions, we are writing our JSX code. That's it. And that JSX code we are written. The extra thing what we did is we just created the functions. Now here, instead of calling create card, I will call multiple card. The moment I call multiple card, and if I save it, and if I go back here, and if I refresh, now see, all these cards are created. All this we want in the same row. So simply to this div, we can add ID as a card container, because already for that card container, we have added CSS here. On the top, already I have copied those style tags. So already we have added this CSS. So if you save it, if you come back here, if you refresh, now see 4 cards are created. Now, what is the advantage of creating UI inside the function? The advantage is to our JavaScript functions, we can pass parameters. I can pass like this a parameter. This parameter, I can bind to my JSX element. So here, instead of hard coding like this name, now what I can do inside this H3 JSX element, I can add a curly brace and I can pass my parameter name. And while calling this function, I can pass arguments now. I can pass like this arguments now. I can pass like this arguments now. Like this, I can pass arguments. The moment I pass this arguments, so I'm calling this function. Whenever I call this function, now this argument will be stored inside this parameter. Now this function will be called. Now what this function will do, it will return this entire JSX by appending this URL and by adding this parameter content inside this H3. So that entire code will come and sit here. It will get replaced here. Again, you are calling same function by passing different argument. Same code will come and sit here. Again, you are calling same function by passing different argument. Same code will come and sit here. Now, if you go back to your browser and if you refresh, now see, you should see different names on the card. different names on the card. Rohan Verma, Riya Sharma, Ajay Sadguru, Siddharth Patel. In the same way, I want you to change the images. Okay, this will be your assignment. So your assignment is, I want you to add different images on this card. I have shown you how to add different names. You have to add different images now. Okay, this will be your assignment. So let's see how many of you will be able to do this and show your output in tomorrow's session. If you guys are not able to do, anyways, I will explain this part in tomorrow's session. So the benefit of the function is we can pass a dynamic data inside our JSX elements using the concept of parameters and arguments. If you don't write your JSX inside any function, so the moment we did here. Now, if you see here, directly we created our JSX and that we have assigned it to a variable. Now here we don't have any way to pass some dynamic data to this H3. There is no way to pass dynamic data because here directly we are using our variables. So to our variables, we cannot pass a dynamic data directly. So this is the reason functions concept comes into picture. So everything we are learning step by step. Again, things will change. In tomorrow's session, again, these things will change. Slowly, things are going to change. Okay. So let's continue remaining things in tomorrow's session. Okay. So tomorrow, in case if this link doesn't work, whatever link you have used today to join the session, if that link is not working, it means link got changed. Okay. If link is working, it means link is not changed. But the message what I got from the management is today is the last demo session. So the people who have paid the amount or the people who are from the UI full stack, so they will get the updated link. Automatically, you guys will get the updated link. Okay. So remaining people, if you want to continue, you have to do the payment, or else if you want to drop, yeah, so no problem, you can drop.
Hello, good morning, sir. Hello. Sir, I
Yes.
joined early today. I missed all the demo classes. So how can I get all those, sir?
That demo sessions you will get from the admin. Just ask them the videos of all the demo session. So he will provide you. So by the way, today is the 5th session. So he should provide you all the 4 demo sessions. Just give me, let me check whether I have that recordings or not.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Just give me a minute. If I don't have, then you have to just connect with the admin people. They will help you. Yeah, I have 3 sessions link. So I will just view that 3 sessions link. 4th session link, you guys can connect with the admin people. So they will help you out with the recordings. Okay, and the people who don't have the syllabus of our course, so let me provide that syllabus as well. So here I'm providing the GitHub link and course content. So you guys can go through your course content and you can find the notes and code related to all the demo sessions from that GitHub link. Just give me a minute, guys. Yes, there is some. So there is a mismatch. Guys, you check that previous videos or this videos, okay? So Anil, right now React has good demand, but it's completely your choice whether you want to go with Angular or React, okay? So right now React is a little bit more in demand compared to Angular. Again, depends upon project to project what people are using. Some companies uses React in front end, some company uses Angular. So my suggestion will be go with React right now because it has more demand in the market. But once you know React, then exploring Angular will be easy for you, and same vice versa. If you go for Angular, then exploring React will be easy for you. Guys, you might got the mail right on your email ID. Just reply to that mail. So admin people will connect with you guys.
Sir, could you please add the code for the today's code in GitHub?
Yeah, I've done it right now.
Yeah, thank you.
Duration will be guys 2 to 3 months. 2 to 3 months. So
Hello,
because
sir. The links you provided are Angular classes, sir. I just have checked out.
at the down I have provided React sessions.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, guys. So if you don't have any doubts, you guys can drop. Let's join tomorrow and let's continue next set of things.
So, hello. Hello.